Everyone. So in the last video I showed you how to set up a character style so that we can change these endnote markers to something a little more appropriate and special. In this case, I'll show you real quick just in case it's been a while since you saw that video, so that they are superscript and they are superscript and they are green. So that's great. There's still these brackets to take care of, and there's the overshadowing thing is that we need to manually come through, click, highlight, and apply this character style. That's fine if we have 16 pages. You guys could probably just make a half hour of it and go through, but chances are you're going to miss one. And then what happens if you have 400 pages of these? That is definitely not doable manually, so we need to think of a different way, and luckily InDesign provides that for us by way of something known as find and change. So to pull up that dialog box, we're going to press Command F, and we're going to click on, you can search for text strings, but that will only get us so far. More valuable is something called GREP, which is an old Unix command in programming that is probably divorced from the actual meaning at this point. But basically what this is looking for is repeatable patterns and not actual characters. So we can tell it to find any number of things within our document. In fact, we'll make a lot of use of this in the coming days to really massage this type into something we can be proud of. But for now, we're going to use it to find all instances of this bracket and a numeral, and then change the character style, and then eventually get rid of the brackets. So here we go. The first thing we're going to do is tell it that we're looking for this open bracket and a numeral followed by a closed bracket. And this is kind of the key to finding things via the grep command. You have to think in terms of variables and what something is base level. This is where kind of the programming complexity comes along. This is any digit. We're not looking for a 1 or a 2 or 14. We're looking for really any digit. But if we were to just say we're looking for any digit, we might run into dates in the running text. And luckily for us, we have these brackets that really don't exist anywhere else in our document. And it works really well because they only exist where they're applied to the endnote. So what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to look for an open bracket and a closed bracket and any number in between. So over here I'm going to pull up the, if you click on this, this will show special characters for finding, and we're going to go to symbols, and there are loads in here. Chances are what you need exists, so you can just click through here. The reason why you might want to use one of these menus, at least until you get a little more familiar, is that there's not a strong relationship between what InDesign calls a particular character via grep and what we call it. So for us it's an open bracket. For InDesign it's a / followed by a bracket. So now we need to specify that we want any digit, and that's under wildcards. So we're going to click any digit, and that's a / D, and then we're going to come back here to symbols and markers and close bracket. And now when we hit find next, you'll see that we can find next, keep clicking next, and it'll find all instances until the search is complete. So now we want to change them. Now we could change them to something specific if that's in fact what we wanted to do. Say if we wanted to find all instances of a double space and change it to a single space, we could just simply put in, yeah, we want a single space, M space, N space, whatever. But in our case, that's not really what we want to do. We want to make it a superscript and we want to make it green. InDesign makes that really easy. We can change the format. So what we're going to do is click on the Find Format, and we're going to, under our character style, we're going to select our previously set up superscript. We're going to click OK. So now it's going to find any digit between the brackets and change it to our paragraph style. So we'll click Find Next, and we'll hit Change. and you can see it applied it. So I'm going to hit change all. It said it made all 6 replacements. And we can verify this by coming down here, and all those have been changed. So now we need to get rid of all these brackets. So what we're going to do is we're going to start again. I'm going to get rid of all of this just for posterity, and so you can see what's going on. I'm going to go over here and find all open bracket characters. I'm going to remove the character style, and I'm going to leave this blank. When I hit find next and I hit change, it'll simply delete it. So I'm going to go change all. It's going to get rid of all of those. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to symbols and close bracket, change all. It's going to change all 5 instances. And there we go. We have made a character style and applied it globally through GREP instead of manually clicking through the text. It looks like we dropped one here for whatever reason. Let's see. There we go. Not flawless, but way better than doing it manually. There are plenty other things we can do this for. I'll give you one quick example right now. So we've talked about how all those bad habits come through from the typewriter, one of which is double paragraph returns for a spacing. As a typographer, I want control over the amount of space between paragraphs. And when somebody adds an extra paragraph return, that screws me up. So I want to identify all of those and get rid of them. The first thing I'm going to do is come up and go to type and show hidden characters. And this is going to show where every instance of a double paragraph return is. Then I'm going to pull up my find and change palette, go to GREP, and then I'm going to go to multiple return to single return. I'm going to click find next, and I'm going to change it, and you can see that removed it. I'm actually going to skip that one. Change, 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 change. There we go. We've gotten rid of all of them. So the most simple ones are going to be up here. More complex ones you can type in here. It's always interesting to look at what is actually being affected via the grep commands and the actual Unix language, just for, well, general nerdery. But you can also specify them simply up there.